Now, when you're in the exam, you are crunched for time, sweetie. So do not go in there and be spending I'm gonna make something great. A wise man learns from his own mistakes, but a wiser man learns from the mistakes of others. So take from that what you will, and let's get straight into this video where I'll be dishing out 5 huge mistakes that you need to avoid in your CSEC and CAPE sittings and also in your preparation process. You want to come out and slay and get that distinction and have that in the bag. You need to avoid these simple mistakes that a lot of persons do every year. So help me help you do good in your exams, right? Mistake number 1, and this is related to actually being in the exam room, is not going in the exam with your points. Now, this is especially beneficial for those of you who are doing subjects like literature, and this is for CSEC and CAPE. Literature, sociology, social studies, history, Caribbean studies, even probably communication studies, all those subjects that require like essay writing. Ensure that you're not coming up with your points when you actually reach the exam room. Go there with your points, especially for literature. Go there with your hook. Your intro always start with a hook, whether a quote from the author, from the poet, or just a generic quote. Now, obviously, you don't know what the question is that you're going to get, but what you do know is your syllabus. You have the topics, you know exactly what it is, or the possibilities of things that you can be tested on. And given that, you being smart when you're studying will work out, okay, given all the topics that we have looked at, there is so much and no more that they can ask about the different themes in the different subjects. And so what you should do while studying is extract for yourself some possible essay questions, and you can use past papers as a guide for this as well. Extract possible essay questions and come up with your points, generic points that can go with what the different themes and the different topics that you looked at throughout the year. Trust me, this will save you time in the exam. Go in there already with the introduction. The only thing that in the intro that you should be constructing in the exam is your thesis statement. For CAPE Spanish, ensure that you go in there with statistics. Have some generic stats about the different themes, and just ensure that it can go with whatever angle the question takes. Mistake number 2, and this is related to your preparation for the exams now, and this is neglecting marathons. It's better you go and hear all the way here already and just have it reinforced in your mind than to miss it and then miss your last chance to clarify any uncertainties. Go to your marathons. If you don't know how to find out about marathons, ask around. If your school isn't having them, trust me, it might be advertised on social media. I mean, Instagram ads for kill when it comes on to marathons. Trust me, they're there, they're out there. Ask around, ask your neighbor, ask your neighbor's neighbor, ask your friends, ask your teachers. This especially for subjects like math. This did help me major key in CSEC, my math marathon. And for CAPE, for Caribbean studies, this helped me major key. I also went to a Spanish marathon for CSEC. And on that note, I'm hosting a CSEC Spanish marathon again this year because I did one last year. If you're doing CSEC Spanish and you're struggling and you want that extra push, just email me, I will send it to you. I'm hosting it on April 9th and May 14th for orals and paper 2 respectively. I highly suggest that you help me help you by signing up. Don't go to your marathons without any knowledge. You're not going there to just start learning about the subject. You're going there with your studied points. You're going there with a general understanding or a decent level of understanding. You're going there as if you're prepared already for the exam, and this is your final crash course almost. Your time to ask your final questions that you're uncertain about, your time to get in any reinforcements you need about things you thought you understand but didn't really. Mistake number 3, and this is for the actual sitting of the exam. Now, when you're in the exam, you are crunched for time, sweetie, so do not go in there and be spending your first few minutes and your first half an hour on the parts of the paper that are easy and that don't even require that much time. Now, let's face it, when we start up exam paper or a test or our full attention span and everything is really in those first few minutes. You want to ensure that with that initial momentum that you go into that examination with, that you're putting all that energy and focus and knowledge that is swimming around in your head on the parts that are hard, on the essays. So determine even before you go to the exam which parts of the exam you want to tackle first. For me, I never ever do my exams in order. I do it in the order of hardest to least hardest. Hardest to easy. Hardest to easiest. The things that take up more time, I put my heart and soul into that. Now, mistake number 4 when studying: neglecting past papers and your syllabi. Guys, this is literally what you need to study with: your past papers and your syllabi. Now, especially for the first point, piggybacking on that, where you go in there with your points. Now, to have an idea of what these points can be, you have to have an idea of what was asked previously. Because let's face it, CSEC has been going on for how long now? So many years. The truth is, the questions are regurgitated. They're simply just tweaked every year, but it's generally the same questions, especially for paper 1. You have to ensure that you're studying with the past papers. Do the practice essay questions, because this will help you. And also, bonus, you time yourself as well in your studying. Time yourself, so you can have an idea of how long it takes you to do each section. They can help you to determine how much time to allocate for each section in the actual exam. Mistake number 5: spending time studying topics that you're already comfortable with. No, big X. Prioritize the topics that are harder for you, the topics that take more time, that are going to take more time to grasp, and really spend the majority of your, especially if it's a case where you took too long to start studying and you have like a few weeks, you're gonna have to be really strategic and strict and careful about how you allocate time to the different topics on your syllabus for each subject, right? So you want to ensure that the topics that you're already comfortable with, save that for last. Save that for your even revision period, and spend your initial time when you're just starting to study for a subject. Spend most of your time tackling those topics that are a bit harder, and those topics that throughout the school year you're never really to get, and make sure that you have your questions from early, so you come on to the marathon, or you can go with your questions or ask the teacher before it gets too late and it's crunch time and time for the exam. Do not waste too much time studying and practicing things over and over again that you know in your heart, so you're good with it already. Bonus tip: write out for all of your subjects, write out the time that you have for each, right? And then before you go into the exam, you're going to determine, okay, given that I have this amount of sections and this amount of time, how much time you think makes sense to allocate for each section? Because the worst thing that can happen to you in that exam, sweetie, is that you go in there and let's say you have 4 sections and you have 2 hours and 10 minutes, and you spend 1 hour and 10 minutes on the essay, and then you have 3 other sections to do. How that work? The math isn't mathing. So ensure that you decide, okay, determine for each subject how many sections are in the exam paper, how much time do you have to complete it, and from early decide, say, alright, I'm gonna spend 35 minutes on the essay, 40 minutes on the reading comprehension, whatever, etc. And actually be committed to that. And ensure that in allocating this time, that you also allocate time to check over. Do not neglect checking over. Enough people in the exam, what them do, them finish it off early and go sleep. Don't go sleep. Make sure so when you go sleep, you done the paper and you check over and you're sure says the distinction before you put it on your head and go sleep. I was fortunate at my school to always have a clock in each exam room, but I don't know about you, so to be safe, go in there with a watch. But you go with a watch and you end up see a clock, then you don't go with a watch and there is no clock. So go with a watch. If your watch have a little silent buzz, you can set a timer on it if it's fancy like that. I don't know. Must have some fancy watches nowadays. I don't know, but go beg any of your watch and go in the exam with a watch and time yourself, sweetie. If you are watching this and you have already done these exams, comment any other mistakes below for the people that are doing it. Send this as well to your friends, guys. Forward this video to your friends, make them know, so listen, these 5 or 6 mistakes, stay away from them, and all the best in your exams. You will see me in my next video. Bye. That's my way every single day.